Radio sHAZZBOT. Issue 04. May 2025.
Here come the tHERAVINGIES.
Episode 0405.
The Go Skating Away Cows. What is the history of the concept of a soul punk?
Or
No slag bag today, a zillion milk years. Itching today, powder in bags. Sleeping.
a 6-scene cartoon improv radio script.
By
J. Drewster Poindexter.
Episode title mashups from the band The Mr. T Experience and their album Night Shift at the Thrill Factory, 1988.
Page 1.
Theodoric.
Hi, I'm Theodoric Theravingie, and this is a sitcom about my adventures as a 12-year-old sitcom kid living with his family in the seaside sitcom trading port city of Baltimore somewhere along the Mediterranean coast in about 325 AD. See, it's kind of like the Wonder Beers meets the original Fox Network's Buried with Children. But there's some elements of the Purged and Purge 2 horror movie franchise thrown in there as well. And look at the toaster and the microwave oven even hold conversations between themselves, just like on the Limestones, the UK version of the Flintstones.
Microwave.
Who? What, when? Or where, why? How? And who? Who? Who let the flies in? Whom? Who?
Toaster.
Well, it's certainly nice of this latest batch of mosquito infestation to allow us to share the neighborhood with it, isn't it?
Microwave.
It's a living. Even back here in 325 AD. Our time soon, right, Toaster?
Toaster.
Our time soon, a right microwave. My carbon footprint is about a gallon of gas a month on this stuff. Science is asking questions. Just keep on going to the meetings and the appliance updates, kid, because somehow they really do seem to help, huh?
Panel 2.
Theodoric.
2 interconnected plot lines were about to interweave themselves at the house on Madison Avenue that week. See, my dad was this really good amateur stand-up psychiatrist, and he was getting ready to give out an award at the local open mic night awards ceremony. You know, sometimes the dad is just the dad.
The dad.
American comedy used to be that it could never happen here type stuff. But then after 211, it's become more like jumping off the high dive diving board on the Hindenburg. Or maybe it's just more like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Theodoric.
And at that same time, my brother's girlfriend, Snowbarella, who's kind of this sweetly pretty farm girl femme fatale type, but with a real mean streak to her too anyway, she was giving out non-professional facelifts free of charge. See, that Matt Gaetz Botox overdose stuff hadn't been invented yet. But then, that's some chin music for a little bit later.
Snobberella.
Well, I just hate to have to do the last 160 years with the post-Reconstructionist South all over again. I'd just be in a bad mood all the time. Oh yeah, I forgot. No bad moods allowed anymore. But I guess y'all don't know me very well, do y'all?
Panel 3.
Theodoric.
See, the trouble was only just getting started that day. It was just before my dad found out that he had been selected to be a presenter at the local Open Mic Night Comedy Awards celebration.
The dad.
You know how some kids want to have a lemonade stand? Well, when he was a kid, houseboy here wanted to open a cosmetics counter instead. We thought he might want to be a cook one day. He didn't play with dolls like the other role-playing kids. He wanted to play with the dishes. But then we finally broke down and bought him a tape recorder. And he hasn't been the same kid fever since.
Theodoric.
When that same day, my brother's girlfriend, Snowbarella, and Hildegard, our court-ordered maid-in-residence, had been sitting in our kitchen talking about Snowbarella giving our maid Hildegard a home game version of a facelift.
Panel 4.
Hildegard.
You know what? Honey baby sweetie sugar, we're clearly getting nowhere with this conversation, hot sauce salsa, and spice. But you're clearly having some big girl feelings about your boyfriend, Adrianople. But I warned you not to get too involved with any rock star comic book illustrators. Didn't your sweet maid-in-residence Aunt Hildegard say that, baby? I warned you not to get too emotionally invested with the whims of my employer's rock star bouncy baby boy, a dearie Snowbarella. Hey, I'm on your side here. Sugar booger sweetie Cheeto trousers.
Theodoric.
Just don't ask too many questions after all. It was 325 AD back then.
The dad.
Hi gang, what's the story, Herbert Goring? Well, it may not be the most glamorous job in the building, but it does pay in the seagull spotting. It seems that the crows and blackbirds chase all the seagulls back to the beach. You know, I spotted that one happening. Anyway, Hildegard, my main maid, your dear old employer, just got hired as a presenter at the local open mic night comedy awards ceremony. So what do you think about that? I mean, I know you literally hate and resent successful men, Hildegard, the maid of mine. But you have to admit that is pretty successful though, isn't it?
Panel 5.
Snobberella.
Hey, save the Banana-Rama Republic trouser flexing for Aardvark Ramaswamy's mommy. Alright, old man? Haha. Hildegard, your sweet mate here, and I were just discussing all the success that yours truly has been having in the non-professional facelift industry skin trade instead.
Hildegard.
Yes, it seems that the tenants at this high-rise tenement castle have all been getting all of their budget facelifts needs met from your son's girlfriend Snowbarella. Here. She does great markup work too. If you've never seen our neighbor, Chuckles Tarlson, without his makeup and cue cards, believe me, he looked DUMB stupid. And probably only there to be made fun of anyway. But she tarted him right up into a Russian doll, and almost free of charges.
Snobberella.
Yep, now whether he's referencing a real life The Joker card, or just referencing a fictitious real life The Joker card, well, if you've seen him play biblical tarot trading cards on the Matt Gates Card Sharks TV talk show, or on the Anti-Christine Noam's Puppy Week on What's Left of the Subliminal Planet Network. With his new budget facelift, a Chuckles Towson looks almost congested. I mean, he almost looks almost convincing as just another fake in the crowd.
The dad.
You know, I could put an end to this frivolous joy riding right now, but it sure beats walking, doesn't it? Baby sweetie honey child's slight return. I'm so delighted to be hearing about all of this.
Panel 6.
Hildegard, the maid.
Well, calling someone a wanker in the United States of Baltimore 235 AD is the same thing as calling someone a funny little C word in the UK trading routes. But you do lose half of your audience each and every time they have to join a new click group, isn't it? I just find that interweb stuff diffusing, really.
Snobberella.
Have you ever seen the novelty horror writer status Kling give an interview? He's got that Beethoven's doorbell thing going on, you know? Nobody's home, nobody's home. But he keeps it all upstairs. I guess, kidding. Well, congratulations on getting the Open Mic Night Comedy Awards show presenter gig as a dad. Although it sounds like just another one of those get-a-date quick schemes of yours. Those poor office girls, and now they're each just another in a string of bizarre and unrelated dating incidents, and with the office pool makers still baffled as to the exact nature of your mental whereabouts.
The dad.
Laugh it up well, you still can. Snowbarella's sweetie honey baby kissing cousin. Because all of those old age ailments that used to be considered fun when you were in your 12th year of that state mental health community college, things like the alcoholisms and the impatience and the insanity vapors. / they aren't going to be so cute after you do graduate. Are they, Hildegard the maid? Well, she can tell you better than I can tell you, really.
Hildegard.
I'm so proud of the dad for getting this Open Mic Night Comedy Awards show presenter gig, Snowbarella, sweetie. So what are you going for there anyway, baby? Are you trying to be like that little kid Malaki McCollin in that The Sixth Red Sense movie? That one little boy who tells people where they should really be in show business by now. But don't you know he won all kinds of awards himself for that betrayal of his? Didn't he now? Red Hot Pants, Ayla Honey Mustard, Sweetie Cakes?
Page 2. Panel 1.
Theodoric. Caption.
Anyway, after that I soon inherited $600 from my late great late night favorite aunt's estate sale. And it wasn't too long after that when I took my young friend Dudley to the miniature golf course, laundromat, bowling alley, combo arcade family fun center to spend the money that our real troubles started to begin.
Dudley.
Oh, by the way, the miniature golf course, laundromat, bowling alley, combo arcade, family fun center was right next door to the KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and across the street from the funeral home, car wash, Catholic nunnery science reading room, and catty corner down the street from that pet shop with a sign on the front of the window that reads, Live, Laugh, Love, Live Ammo.
Theodoric.
I just want to remember my great aunt properly, and to remember her property with some dignity. Dudley. She was on the website, Older Pains. It's like this old folks social network dating site website, AARP app. But for her, it was a place where the grand people could just get together and show off their latest golf sprains and tennis elbows. And they could go into elaborate details about their conversations with the undead life insurance company bank tellers. It was like their favorite last will and bragging rights one-stop mom and pop social dating, unsolicited testimony, apparatus, and expenditure. Well, it was her favorite one anyway.
Panel 2.
Dudley.
I've heard about that ARP app, Theodoric. It's kind of like Only Pains. The object is to score social status points and parquets, which are like 3 for the price of knowns. I remember your aunt always used to say, parquet. I can't believe it's not real money.
Theodoric.
You know, I had a hermit crab for about 4 days once. What was more like a half an hour. Really, but I'll never forget that smell.
Dudley.
Say, aren't you tired of walking to the miniature golf course, laundromat, bowling alley combo arcade family fun center yet, Theodoric? We've just got to get us some Hot Wheels instead. My cousin knows a bumper car, Tilt-A-Whirl Ferris, will Family Fun Reclamation Center, not far from here, and he can get us into for half the cost. Like he always says, ingenious is as ingenious does Ferris. But hey, last night I had a dream about the Book of Reclamation. I just sailed right through it. But you know what? My dream about the Book of Sales Reclamations was just prophetic. But there was something important in it about the ancient fortune teller at the miniature golf course, laundromat, bowling alley combo arcade family fun center. And Theodoric, you were still in it.
Panel 3.
Theodoric.
Well, I'm sure a lot of things are still funny from your middle school years at your state-sponsored church, Dudley, or even from the Middle-earth years at your church-sponsored state. I'd rather think about my late-great, late-night favorite aunt's estate sale instead.
Dudley.
Your aunt could be pretty chill though. She used to quote Chris Ross when she used to say, I have thousands and thousands of dollars, but I still identify as a poor person's legend. But then she'd turn right around and quote James Brown's when he went to prison, and she'd say, ain't nothing changed but the prison uniform. That was always a big score with me too, dude.
Theodoric.
Well, comedians can get to places that preachers and politicians and music producers don't usually dare to trend. That'll be $80 an hour. Dudley. And will I see you next Thursday? Hey, but how do you know so much about my great aunt, dude? What are you with the Psychic Friends Net Worth or some total or something? You know, I'm feeling kind of wigged out and tired of winning too. Let's seek refuge in this desolate-looking alleyway just outside of the Psychic Palm Reader's Mystery Emporium that's just up ahead.
Panel 4.
Dudley.
I'm with you, pal. I'm feeling too wigged out to keep walking down this Sylvian place. Besides, I much prefer Emily Dickinson's, who is inarguably the Wednesday Addams of American letters. Wait, who's that coming out of the shadows of this desolate-looking alleyway just outside of that Psychic Palm Reader's Emporium? It looks like it is. It's an elderly-looking gypsy fortune teller herself.
Fortune teller.
And now, my fine friends, like the sign says, Bibby, all ice cream pie sales are final. In your face, my young accomplices. For I am ashamed that I must warn you. I fear that you both are in gravedigger DNA. Air, danger. And it is just a very good thing that the two have happened my way just in the nick of space and time.
Fortune teller.
For I'm afraid that you must be warned by my elderly-looking gypsy fortune teller's psychic abilities. Or I shall fear that I am just not doing my job correctly. Here, come on inside, my Psychotropic Friends Network Palm Readers Mystery Emporium. But do try to keep your heads below the shrubbery line. Neighbors, have I got neighbors?
Panel 5.
Theodoric. Caption 1.
Meanwhile, at that same time, and don't ask me how I know this, because if the inconsistency in this timeline ever got out, I could have my artistic license revoked, or maybe even suspended, just like how I shall now suspend your sense of the disbelief. Hey, what do you want? My character is supposed to be a 12-years-old kid.
Caption 2.
Anyway, back at the tenement high-rise, Snowbarella had just given Hildegard the maid one of her amazing budget home game version facelifts when the dad walked in and started talking about the Open Mic Awards Ceremony Music Festival, just like they weren't there or anything.
Hildegard.
Panel 6.
Page 3.
Panel 1.
And at that same moment, in that exact same location.
Snobberella.
See, it's like a tale of two 80s. Auntie Hildegard. See, when I'm in my 80s, like when I'm your age or something, Auntie Hildegard, I'll be too old to work at a real job. So instead, I will be writing non-fiction novels and then turning them into crudely animated cruddy kids movies. Plus, I'll be selling the screenplays out the back of a reconstituted Chevy Chase station wagon for peanuts on the dollars. You know, I'll be living the dream in a nightmare world that is. If there even is another 10 years from now, Auntie Hildegarda. Well, a fictional character can dream, can't she? Oops, that is even if there is another 10 years from now.
Hildegard.
I just don't know where you random kids get your random ideas from, sweetie bunches of Oataxa. Bless your lower esophagus. I don't know these things. You need to ask your boyfriend Adrianople if he thinks that there'll even be an actual 10 years from now, honey bunches of Osaka flakes. And then take an I-bomb Efren and ask Adrianople's sister Brispania if even she thinks that there will be a 10 years from now. You know, a bless your tracheal tract. In order to get the real story from her instead.
Panel 2.
Snobberella.
Well, you know, when I get into my 80s, I'm sure that it'll be like 1 minute you have this well-meaning senile old coot who kindly fix your bicycle chain if only he could find the right sprocket's wrench in that huge pile of sprocket wrenches. And then at the same time, in the very next minute, that same crazy old coot would burn your bicycle rack down to the ground with you on it. If only there was a Donald Jonestown Trump t-shirt in it for him. And well, you never know which one that you're going to get, do you? But that's okay because neither does he, really. It's like, decisions.
The dad.
Hey, what are you two feminazis talking about now? Hey, that budget home discount Econo facelift that Snowbarella is giving you doesn't seem to be making much of a difference, does it, Hildegard? But wowzers. This new ignorance and intolerance diet that my court-appointed primary care doctor, a Dr. Odds, has put me on, it sure has made some radical differences in my diplomacy and deportment. Well, at least in the old comportment department, anyways. Say, did you two doggies make my doggy pot pie yet? You fallen woman folk just have no accountability anymore, do you? Well, ever since the landlord overlords took away all of those surveillance cameras and then replaced them with the new surveillance cameras of his own design.
Panel 3.
Hildegard.
Oh, did you say something? The dad, sweetie. We're over here in the Florida Evans room. Snowbarella, the deer in the headlights child, was just putting the finishing touches on my very own budget Econo home game version facelift. I think it makes me look just like that little fish in Finding Igor, or maybe even the your character fish in Uncle Walt Geppetto's The Hunchback of the Opera. What do you think of it, the dad? My little sweet little Hello Kitty hive honeycombs hideaway.
The dad.
A snort. It looks fine, Hildegard. But my brain may contain more adult content just now, like stigmata smoking, some shoe play, and who's going to take their turn paying the water bill this month. But yeah, a snort, it looks fine, Hildegard. Say, did anyone else happen to see my stock exchange bloopers, real highlights films? I seem to have misplaced them again. I thought that tonight we partied like it was 1929.
Brispania.
Oh, hi the daddy. Hi Hildegard. Hello again, Snowbarella.
The dad.
Oh, hi, Brispania.
Brispania.
The dad? Are you still going to that open mic night comedy awards ceremony festival show tonight over at the Showboat Theater? The word down at the Underground's newspaper is that the local feds at the creeping Department of Government Entropy might raid it and start arresting the local people and taking them to the non-local deprogramming centers. I just thought that I'd give you the heads up, you know, before they start brainwashing the locals into buying their Big Mac Nazi mobiles. There have been some real neato price liquidation sales on those little monsters recently.
Panel 4.
The dad.
Oh, no problem there, Brispania. Kidding. They brainwashed me weeks ago. I borrowed a new Big Mac Nazi mobile rental. It's parked out back in the middle of the shrubbery gardens. But be careful, I think your little brother's little friends might be that driverless car road rage incident role-playing game in and around it right now.
Brispania.
Thanks, the dad. But I've got my own way of getting around town and things these days. And anyways, I have that Honda Civic's lesson scooter to get back to the Underground's news parchment for all of the latest updates. But I'm sure that Theodoric's little friends will be finished dismantling that Big Mac Nazi mobile back for you by Election Day. It's just a shame that they have to learn about nature conservation in that way.
Snobberella.
Hey, and just remember, Hildegard, These clueless teenage, 20-something daydreams like Brisbania and myself are just so much more aware of the modern Aztec relaxation techniques in Baltimore 325 AD these days. You'd better know your barbershop movies pretty well before you decide to fall asleep in that chair. Or else sweet Snubberella here might give you the Sweeney Todd treatment like she just almost gave me.
Panel 5.
Snobberella.
Hey, Brisbania, here's a tipper. Don't hedge fund all of your bets until after they've cracked. But oh, Brisbania, I've got to get down to my job at the Taco Smart. KFC PhD, Pizza Genius combo by 11:30. Can I probably hitch a ride with you? Burger Smart and Pizza Smart have really stepped up the competition since the tariff war started. And my boys at Taco Smart said that this time they'd be sure to start without me if I didn't get down there on their time this time instead. The first cut is the deepest, you know.
Brisbania.
Sure, but I wonder how my little brother Theodoric is faring. And if he's spending all of that 600 ducats that his late night aunt left him at her estate sale? For in Baltimore 325 AD, ours is not a goddess of ritual and obliteration, but of ceremony and sacrifice instead. Come on, Snowbarella, and we can go oppress some peasants along the way. Kidding.
Panel 6.
Caption.
Dudley has his fortune read, and it is determined that he will definitely appear as guest star on a very special episode of Post Office Pup, along with Mr. T-Bone, the First Lady of the USA, and that very extraordinary person, TV's Kevin Hart. He is, of course, distressed to hear this news.
Theodoric.
Did that gypsy fortune teller really just put a curse on you, Dudley?
Dudley.
Yappa. That gypsy fortune teller really just put a curse on me, Theodoric.
Page 4. Panel 1.
Caption.
Meanwhile, back at the Harvey Krishna's Popsy Cola Summer Concert Series back on Channel 0, and over to the left click on that Network 90.
Harvey Krishna.
Hi, gang. And we're back at the Harvey Krishna's Popsy Cola Summer Concert Series. Now, gosh darn it, let's see if I can just move this microphone, stand down here to the dance floor, and let's talk to some of the kids and ask them what they've been thinking about some of these terrific ethnic raga music tunes that we've been playing for you. The raga music is, of course, courtesy of our friends over at the World Sound Copyrights Conglomerate. We put the con in conglomerate every day.
Karen Mildred Lucille.
Oh, Harvey Krishna. Pick me, pick me.
Harvey Krishna.
And also to those other friendly folks at the Guitar Safari Axis of Evil International. Guitar Safari Axis of Evil International. It's where woke goes to sleep on. And we'll have some of their great Behold the Golden Sneakers and their amazing post office stakes. And some of those Nido Torpedo Tarot Ruins trading cards up for the Lotto sweepstakes just a little bit later too. This along with one of their The Very Idea air guitars. And it says here, The Very Idea. They're just perfect for strangling out your own idea of proud Melvin or down at the corner with
Panel 2.
Karen Mildred Lucille.
Oh, Harvey Krishna. Pick me, pick me.
Harvey Krishna.
Hi, sweetheart. She's a real cutie. What age are you? And where do you go to school? And if I could ask you, what exactly is wrong with your generation? Because from where I'm seated, I can't see a thing.
Karen Mildred Lucille.
Hi, Harvey. I'm Karen Mildred Lucille, and I'm 47, so I just graduated from Midtown Middle School. You might think 47 is a little older for school, and you might think 47 is a little older to be dancing to these ethnic raga music tunes, too. Better luck next time, right? But I just want to say, if I'm too old for you, then you're too loud for me. Besides, I'm an undercover police officer. Next question?
Harvey Krishna.
Well, that's really great, Karen Mildred Lucille. Yep, you're never too old for the ethnic raga music tunes. So, and let's see if we can talk to one of these other great kids now. And look, here's one right over here.
Panel 3.
Caption.
At that same moment, young Brisbania Theravingie is at her current employment, at the Pants Me and Plus retail chain outlet, the same adult supercenter department store, where she has just started her latest late-night management shift.
Mr. So-and-so.
Brisbania, can I see you in my office for just a minute?
Brisbania.
Oh, sure thing, Mr. So-and-so, the store manager. Say, this isn't about that podcast that I started on my own hours outside the store, is it? I just wanted to bring more attention and less attention to the ending of sales of the morning after pill over at the cosmological department, I think.
Mr. So-and-so.
You sound like the crazy gang down at the church when they're trying to get one of the homeless dads to cry their eyes out after making him say, tHERAVINGIES. You know, Brisbania, I too, used to be considered quite an academic scholar when I was in the pants meet and plus retail chain store manager training school. How are you? How are you? What is that, some kind of a joker? I used to say it. Boy, was I just a teenage rebel jokester back then.
Panel 4.
Brisbania.
It's just
Mr. So-and-so.
But you know, Brisbania. I don't know where kids learn these ideas about self-expression these days. What is it, Network Zero? Or those Craigslist Peaceless Classifieds again? Or did Thomas Painkiller on that My Inner Space app put you up to this podcasting business? Young Brisbania? You know, I used to have one of those Leviticus fonts on my Linus Pauling operating system myself. Of course, that was many Martin Luther Columbus days ago. Back on the dark and stormy Jack Daniels dark web. So many TGI Fridays ago. Don't you know?
Brisbania.
In my defense, sir, if I can just say,
Mr. So-and-so.
Now, I'm not gay exactly, per spray young Brisbania. I can, of course, quit any time that I want to. But my family came to this country to escape from the religious perspiration. And at least on my worst day ever, at least I'm not this rhinoceros scrum, lost personal baggage, Rosicrucian sycophant. Don't you know? But with that, I'm on. I mean, and no man is an island of lost luggage. Young Brisbania. Brisbania. But it's hard to sneak a word in edgewise. And I.
Mr. So-and-so.
Is that old school fair and balanced and yet cathartic enough reporting for your generation and your union representation, young Brisbania? So, see, there'll be no rocking of the status quo vote allowed on my store watch whatsoever. It's just in the name of and in the manner of the almighty store policy policing. Don't you know?
Brisbania.
I understand all that, Mr. So-and-so, but this podcast was started on the side, outside of the store time, sir, and I alone.
Panel 5.
Mr. So-and-so.
Well, at this time, I'm not going to fire you for misrepresenting the cattle brand Brisbania, but I am reassigning you to a different store department. It's just in the manner of store policy, of course. Starting 2 months from next Monday, you're to report to the baby photography department in the darkness on the other edge of the store. This isn't coming from me. This is some of my own boss's best work. And it's just being used as a reprimand, you understand?
Brisbania.
But Mr. So-and-so, that's a severe cut in pay. I can't just.
Mr. So-and-so.
You started a podcast to try to protest that the morning after pill move was removed from the cosmological counter, knowing fully well that there is still a huge secondary illegal market with the gangbangers who are parked on skateboards just outside of the store. These independent vendors have a lot of time on their hands now, after they were forced out of their weed dispensary industry. Well, maybe they should have unionized the local industry a long time ago to begin with, but it is what it is, I suppose. Here now, Ms. Brisbania, is there anything else that you have to say for yourself today before I transfer the proper work to HR over and Puff and Stuff?
Panel 6.
Brisbania.
Mr. So-and-so, sir, if I can just say, I'd like to quote an excerpt from a poem that was written by a Miss Phyllis Barfly Anderson. See, she was very involved in the failure of what was then known as the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment. You see, sometimes small events can have major consequences in the poetry of a later era, sir. But what Miss Phyllis Barfly said ironically, I can now say with all of my being, a woman can have better sex under socialism, for there is better healthcare in Switzerland. She was just being ironic, but I think that history will be kind to some of the poetry that showed up later, and perhaps a bit more understanding too.
Panel 6.
Caption.
And still later, on the late-night Uber Lyft ride home, Brisbania has a quiet, reflective moment.
Brisbania.
Well, this entire evening so far has played out like a Dadaist, avant-garde, absurdist, experimental rerun of Laverne and Barfly. So I guess that now what I need to do is to scheme to get my sympathetic boss to date the district manager, and then see if the district manager can undo this unjust reassignment.
Radio announcer.
If I can just get a word in here edgewise.
Brisbania.
It's just too bad that the district manager is now on a North Korean Wikipedia cruise to the South Pacific. I guess he likes old musicals. But I've got to wash that store manager out of my hair, and soon. Well, I guess I can type up a fake passport and get a good out-of-focus picture and a fake backstory and sneak aboard, and then just track him down on the boat.
Radio announcer.
And here comes the latest abomination coming out of the Washington, D.C. cinematic universe tonight.
Brisbania.
Maybe he likes old musical plot lines as well. Wait, a North Korean Wonkapedia cruise line? Well, I always like to get the official version first. I dunno, I'm all tuned around now. But I guess I just need to talk to my union representative first. Well, it's still cheaper than Scientology, Maybe I can find something that will lift my spirits on this car radio.
Radio announcer.
And it seems that women in fact can have better sex under socialized medicine. There is in fact better childcare in Switzerland. with more at 11.
Page 5. Panel 1.
Caption. Theodoric.
At that same time, over on Nicked at Knife Point TV Land Island, on a recent rerun of Laverne's and Phyllis Barflies, the girls were discussing a recent hand grenade Maiden's Tale TV episode while sitting on a couch that was about to be repossessed and drinking Snot's Brewery Funade that was just about to repossess them instead.
Laverne's.
Kabuki, Okinawa, Nagasaki, Montego. We'll take it fast and then we'll make it slow, way down in Mar-a-Lago. Well, a comedian will certainly cut a rug dancing, Phyllis Barflies, on a one-hit man, one-hit wonder record from the 1980s at least. I guess that this certainly disproves the one-hit man, one-hit wonder theory of history. Don't it, Phyllis?
Phyllis Barflies.
Come on, Lavance. See, Mon Lavance.
Is that anything like? So come on, all you people. It's time to beat your tamarines and get together. How ironic. I hate women, but I love babies. I hate peoples, but I love the possibilities involved in the making of more peoples. How's that for optimistic, Lavan? I should have stayed in middle school. Well, at least you can still find good ironic TV reality on the internet.
Panel 2.
Theodoric.
As meanwhile, Slugwort and Tchaikovsky were busy juggling dead sports app bets, dead-end jobs, limited financial opportunities, and a 4-year rental agreement at Nurse Edna TV Babylon's tenement apartment complex.
Slugwort.
It's 10 o'clock at night. Oh, the neighbors are getting good. And can you tell me what decade it is next, Mrs. Moriarty? We'll be working on our colors after that, dear. Well, maybe a woman of color can be president instead one day. It's like with every Paul McGivers solo album after Band on the Run, except for The Tug of War. But we wanted so hard to believe though, didn't we?
Tchaikovsky.
Hey, you want a piece of me, Slugwort? Why, you filthy little mosquito, I'll tear you limb from limb. Just the check, please, concierge. I'm sorry, Squire. I know that we don't make jokes like that in Johnny Roddenberry's modern Star Trek America anymore. I can go no further, I'm afraid. However, with that said, grunge rage, grunge rage.
Panel 3.
Theodoric.
As Nurse Edna TV Babylon was busy shouting at the boys to wise up and go back to tech school. And at that same time, Uncle Virtue Signal was about to release the white smoke out of the Vespiary at the Pizza Bola to signify that Carmen Chef RD had just been situated as the new brand ex-brando boba of the bowling lanes, following of the ballot results of tour selection.
Uncle Virtual Signal.
What do you kids want? I'm logistic to fish. But you think that I might not someday want to learn how to fish. I hear that it's the closest thing you can do to nothing while still technically doing something. But personally, I'd rather putz around the garage for a few more decades. To be perfectly honest with you, I think you kids could knock out in a couple of long weekends what I can do in a decade. Oh, cold call, dude. Really?
Carmine Chef RD.
Yep, sex on a Friday night. It kind of reminds me of my own middle school years. Praying that our parents don't walk in, but then again sort of praying that they do. Hey, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat love too, will ya? Well, they say that you're really just an inversion until you've made it with a real live musician. Yep, I'm in a good mood, if you want to call it that, really.
Panel 4. Caption.
Theodoric.
But all of that will just have to wait. Because, meanwhile, over on the NRA network on Championship Fake TV Shuffleboard Live from the Floor It Does, TV host Gorgon Soulfly was interviewing the fake Freebird brothers as the now evil Dolly Patrons was sizing up her next evil client's next good guy wrestling opponent.
Laverne's.
Well, but maybe it's just Slugwort and Tchaikovsky sharing a disco jazz cigarette in the bathroom at Uncle Fool's the Pizza Bola. Come on, you mooks, be serious. Let's get back to your weird ass, freaked out little wise guy. Lil Popo playing against the machine. Low-fee make-believe puppet show instead.
Caption.
Theodoric.
Well, all of that will just have to wait for now as well, I guess. Because at the same time, well, I mean, to continue on with this story instead.
Phyllis Barflies.
Well, people hold their anger, but they work their violence. Well, if the MTV Viewers' Choice Awards is any indication of that anyway.
Panel 5.
Carmine Chef RD.
Clot flustered video stores. Hey, if they ever reopen, I'll be one of the first ones in line with a lawn chair, waiting for Joseph Conrad, the hero's journey to Into the Heart of Darkness concert tickets. with maybe a tab or an RCA cola and a moon calf pie in my hands. 2.
Laverns.
You know that mean Jolene Wood and his weekend Bible salesman routine, and that proud to be an Armenian song? Well, it was translated into literally dozens of different national anthems at one time or another.
Carmine Chef OARD.
It would be like if they had had that WWC song translated into 172 different flavors and locations before it got famous. I mean, it would still technically be the same stupid song, you know? However, try explaining that one to one of our own finest redneck caricatures, am I right?
Phyllis Barflies.
But see, Christopher Marlowe always gave his best lines to his most beloved fools, really. That might be a bit subjective, I suppose. But anyway, why don't you all just go out and defrock yourselves instead? At least that would be my Kingstown advice.
Panel 6.
Caption.
And later,
Theodoric.
So, I hear that the budget discount facelift business of yours is really taking off in this here tenement high-rise apartment car park. Snowbarella?
Snowberla.
Well, that's a story that will have to wait until later, young Theodorica. But just remind me, okay?
Scene 6. Panel 1.
Caption.
Dudley broke out of the old gypsy's curse by agreeing to appear on 5 other very different, very special episodes of network TV series broadcasts, and an NRA after-school special with Alex Clones, instead. He just never did like the Post Office Pup series all that much, really. It was just too commercial.
Panel 2. Panel 3.
Caption.
Meanwhile, a bit later,
Caption.
the Department of Creeping Government Entropy shuts down the Open Mic Night Awards show in the middle of the awards ceremony scene. The production is seen as being economically insufficient.
Theodoric.
Hi Dad, you're home early. How was the local Open Mic Night Award show tonight? Did the creeping Department of Government Entropy crash the party, like the people on the interwebs said they were going to?
The Dad.
Oh, hi, Tiger. Yeah, it was a total disaster. But hold on, I'm watching the Revengers vs. the Goaltenders of the Galaxy Angst game video game movie on the talking microwave oven again. It'll be over in just a minute, kiddo. It's the Revengers movie with Emma Peels and John Steeds in it, from the original Revengers TV series. I love these older movies.
Theodoric.
Well, I certainly think that we'll be hearing a lot less from that poor fellow. What? Yeah, the Dad. I remember this movie. 5 rings to rule the shopping mall. Well, you know what they say. Sometimes when infinity rings, it's better to be previously preoccupied somewhere else. Indeed, old chap.
Panel 4.
Brisbania.
But the Dad, I've got to know this for a banned book report that I'm submitting to the local newspapers, and for the gossip in the outside halls afterwards. Was there just this big scuff-up at the Open Mic Night Awards ceremony? Or did it go over without much of an incident?
The Dad.
Well, Brisbania, daughter of mine, if a neighbor loses his job, then it's a recession. If I lose my job, then it's a depression. If one of my bosses loses his job, then we're on our way to a full recovery. Well, for the moment, anyway. Sorry, sweetheart, but I'm just not at liberty to talk about any big scuff-ups at the Open Mic Night Awards ceremony last night. Let's just say that last night was the last time that I agreed to be a presenter at a comedy award show like that.
Brisbania.
But the Dad, what about Cowboy Bob Outlaw? Why, we'd be eating sauerkraut on the 4th of Julius Caesar's Day at the Kennedy Lincoln Douglas Debate Caligula Arts Center, if not for Cowboy Bob Outlaw. I can't take it. I just can't take having 70 Watergates a week, and then no one in any kind of position of authority does anything positive about undoing it. I just can't take it anymore. Who knew that being a politically savvy post-teenage newspaper reporter would come with such a body count? Namely, my own.
Panel 5.
The Dad.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a dad telling his preteen kids how much that TV dinner really costs. It's just drawing too much attention to the production itself. It's just too much to swallow at one time, kids. It's hard to imagine and accept on its own demented and deviated demerits. That's all.
Theodoric.
But the Dad, what about Bob Outlaw? I mean, there's still time. I think maybe we just need a few more cameras and a lot more accountability. But that's all. Well, maybe with that new Pope, Pope Bob from Chicago, maybe there will be a new cleric in town.
Panel 6.
Brisbania.
Nah, trust me, Theodoric. The Dad is already all wrapped up in this Revengers versus the Goaltenders of the Galaxy Angst game video game movie to talk anymore, and with one ringtone to rule them all. I'm going to open up that window and scream out loud, I'm mad as heaven, and I'm not going to fake it anymore.
Theodoric.
An example of a great 70s era movie that became an even better Emperor Tweet era movie. Well, maybe I'm tampering with the forces of commerce here, like Christian Bale was. But we all know what happened to that news reader Bale guy at the end of that movie. And they sure didn't use a ketchup packet behind the ear that time.
Brisbania.
Wait, is there someone there? Is there someone knocking at the back door?
Caption. Theodoric.
And then, the creeping government department of entropy shut down our own TV show production of Scene N, the middle of that one scene that we were recording. The series had come to be seen as economically insufficient.
Hildegard.
The workers on the set of the TV production were soon hired back, but with a huge cut in pay. And the crew was put on triple kabluna, red alert, red light, distinct, yellow card warning, 7-second delay notification. And they would live in fear of their future employers for the rest of their careers in the show business skin game. But at least they did have some skin in the game. No joke, amigos.
Theodoric.
It might take 20 years for the crew to get back to where they were just 2 weeks ago, thanks to these kleptocurrency fascists. So it's nothing at all that new, really. Just think the 1870s post-reconstructivist American South era with decent deli food, and you'll do fine, if you can afford it. And we all might just survive somehow too, in some capacity or another. Well, at least until you tune on, turn out, and drop in for our next psychedelic episode. And regroovers and retrofitters need only apply. Heavies.
Next episode.
Now we are predictable. 21 terrible, don't know what I'll don't mind is a thing if you do, right?
Oh.
Say Velveeta. She did me goodnight, say wearing in, out.
Copyrights 2025.
With thanks and respect to the Mr. T Experience and their album Night Shift at the Thrill Factory, Lookout Records 1988 for the episode title anagram Mashups.